Hello and welcome to Season 4, Episode 2 of Non-League to Legend. I'm Kev, and for an hour or so there, I thought I'd lost my whole save. Coming up later in this episode, I've got a live com of today's away game against Notts County in League 2. This whole match that you saw in yesterday's episode, it's scrubbed from history. It never really happened. We did beat Bristol Rovers 3-2. You saw it happen. Unfortunately, I went forward a couple of days, was getting ready to play the Swindon game in the League Cup, and Football Manager suddenly closed. And I panicked. Oh, how I panicked. Corrupted saves, all sorts of stuff, didn't know what was going on. What actually happened is because I hadn't saved for a little while, it took me all the way back to mid-August, so I had to play my last pre-season friendly again, which was against Doncaster. We beat them 4-1 on Earth 1 originally. We lost 3-0 on Earth 2. Same goes for this Bristol Rovers game. I didn't bother re-recording it, because quite frankly, I was panicking that it would crash again once I got a couple of days past it. But yeah, here on Earth 2, which is where this save now exists, we drew 0-0 at home with Bristol Rovers. So, I don't know, let's compare the stats. We stopped them having quite so many chances. We didn't have as much possession. We created a lot more chances ourselves, and they had fewer shots. So although we only drew rather than win, I guess you could argue that we played better. So from this moment on, we continue in Earth 2, Earth 1. Who knows what's happened there? I imagine I've won the Champions League over there by now. But in this Earth 2 universe, this is what's been going on. So we did finally get to play the League Cup game against Swindon that caused all the problems in the first place. We lost 3-1. The most disappointing thing was our complete lack of discipline in this match. We had a lot of players booked, and we had a player sent off in the second half. We did have an advantage. We were playing against 10 men from the 9th minute because they had a player sent off as well. But we never really capitalised. Yeah, Swindon are a better team than us, but we didn't play well at all in that game, which was a bit of a disappointment. We did play well at the weekend though. We went away to Leyton Orient. We just closed them out for 80 minutes. I tried something a little bit different. I mentioned in yesterday's episode how I wanted the Diamond to sort of become a 4-1-3-2 when we were defending, a 4-3-1-2 when we were attacking. I decided going away to a team like Leyton Orient, we probably weren't going to do much attacking, so I just started us with the 4-1-3-2. On a counter-attack instruction, it worked really, really well. We just soaked up pressure for the whole game, and when Orient got tired, we went up the other end and scored 2 goals. Ryan Donaldson came off the bench with 10 minutes to go. We stuck him in the slightly more advanced position that he plays in so well. You saw him do that in yesterday's episode, and he scored one and made one. Can't really argue with that. I'm going to call that tactically spot on against Leyton Orient. And then I've carried on spending the money. Obviously, we've got a lot of money to spend, particularly for a League 2 club. I have massively overspent on this guy, Ben Tilney. He's a 21-year-old left-back who's come in from MK Dons. We've spent £375,000 on him, which is about 150, 200,000 more than I would want to spend on him. But our left-back, Tond, I want to say that's his name. You saw him play yesterday's episode. Here in Earth 2, he actually got injured for 3 months before the season started, so he's out for a little while. We don't really have any kind of decent left back at the club apart from him. So Tilney's going to come in, be our starting left back for at least the first 3 months of the season, and then we've got 2 really good left backs who could comfortably play League 1, even lower Championship maybe, probably League 1. And we'll just have them competing with each other. Hopefully we'll sell one of them for decent money next summer, or even in January, let one of them go for decent money. But either way, I'm happy to have him in. He's a young player, he's got bags of potential, and looks like a pretty useful player for us right now for a left back in League 2. We also signed a player on loan, James McKenna. He's another defensive midfield player. He's coming on loan from Bolton for the season. Really just as a backup as the defensive midfielder. We signed Tom Platt, which you saw in yesterday's episode, but we didn't really have any other natural defensive midfielders. So McKenna, he's only 18. He'll come in and he'll just sit in the reserves, basically, unless something happens to Platt, and then we can draft him into the side. He's a really good tackler, though, so could even find himself challenging for a starting spot as the season goes on. And we've signed a right back as well, Cameron Gale. He's come in from where did he come from? Port Vale. 150,000. He's 26 years old. Really good attacking wing-back style full-back, which is a little bit different from what we had at the club. We had a very defence-minded right-back in Dean Winnard. He is our club captain, however, he just can't get forward the way Gail's going to be able to. And with the system that we're going to be playing, with all our width coming from our fullbacks, I think it is important that our fullbacks are some of our biggest attacking threats, and Gail's definitely going to give us that. And we have 4 really, really strong fullbacks at the club now to go with the 4 really good centre-backs that we already had after the summer business. And in fact, if you look throughout our defence and midfield, I'm very, very happy at this point that our defence and midfield is good enough to romp the League 2 title. The problem really comes from the fact our goalkeeper just doesn't cut it, and we don't really have that really potent striker that you need for a promotion campaign. But in defence and midfield, we're finished now. This is good. I'm very happy with what we got there. Cameron Gale, missing piece of the puzzle. We then played all these new players and lost 2-1 at home to Rochdale. Really, it was a very, very even game. They scored 30 seconds into the game, then scored again after 15 minutes, and then just sat back and defended. We just couldn't break them down. This is what I'm saying about us not having that cutting edge going forward. Apart from the sloppy start to the game, we did look very effective in defence. We mixed things up again in this game. We again didn't use the diamond. I decided to attack Rochdale. We played a 4-3-1-2, so switching things around from the last game. Played Donaldson from the start, but no defensive midfield player. And we did it on a control instruction. And I think that's probably to blame for the poor start we had to the match. I don't know that that's going to be a formation I'm going to start a match with again anytime soon. It's definitely something we're going to be training so that we can use it late in the game, but I'm thinking that either the diamond or the 4-1-3-2 on a counter instruction, whichever one we choose, is going to be our starting system, at least for a little while. We then signed another player. After saying the midfield was spot on, I couldn't resist bringing Marlon Pack into the club. He has been a regular in the Championship for Bristol City for the last 3 seasons, but they've transfer listed him. Despite playing him in their first 3 games of the season, they put him on the transfer list. They've let him go for only £84,000. This guy is far, far too good for us. He is a Championship midfielder, and we could have him in our side for the next 2-3 years. I see him being a potential captain for us. Cannot believe I've been able to pick this player up for this price. Really, really happy with that, and it just makes our midfield that much stronger. I'd love for someone to put a goalkeeper or a striker of this quality up for sale for this kind of price, because we would just snap them up, no problem at all. And then we sold another young player. This lad wasn't even really on my radar. I certainly haven't played him even in any of the friendlies. But he's a 17-year-old, came through the same youth team as the lad who went to Newcastle. And Blackburn have come in. We've spent a few days forcing them up a little bit. They came in at 150,000 originally, but we managed to get them up to 400,000. That one youth intake from a couple of years ago at Exeter has now made £3.5 million for the club. I really, really hope this wasn't just a fluke, and this is the kind of youth system I'm dealing with here, because if we can be churning out a couple of players of this kind of quality each year, plus now we've got the money in the club, we're really stable financially, I can see myself taking Exeter all the way to the Championship. I'm getting really excited about this football club. I just hope we can find the striker and the goalkeeper that we need to really push on and do something impressive this season. We have signed a couple of strikers on deadline day. You could probably call them panic moves. They were both free transfers. They were both players who'd been available for a little while anyway. I just wanted to bring in bodies at this point. Neither of them are massively better than what we've got at the club. The first one is Anton Forrester. He's 24 years old. He prefers to play as a target man. I'm really happy with his physical stats at this level, and he's a decent finisher as well. So could be a decent option. Could turn out to be a great player at this level. Unfortunately, not close to match fitness, so not going to be able to play for us today. And we also brought in to play alongside him potentially Suleimani Koulibaly, 23-year-old, currently plays for my team Posh in real life. He's a poacher on advanced forward, very quick, very skillful, and again could end up being really good. Might not be. He's not massively better than the players we've currently got, but has a lot of potential, but again, not fit enough to be playing today. But both of those players will probably be on our bench today. And that's the summary of the transfer window. We actually spent nearly £1 million in that transfer window, which, considering we didn't bring in the big money striker, we still haven't found a goalkeeper. I'm surprised we've spent that much money. But what it does mean is we've still got about £500,000 left for the January transfer window. That's the point. We really want to be bringing in a goalkeeper, particularly. And maybe even a striker at that point as well, depending on how we're doing in the league. Obviously, if we're really comfortable and some combination of the 5 or 6 decent strikers we've got at the club now looks like it's working, then we probably won't meddle there. I've got a couple of young goalkeepers on trial as well. I'm probably going to bring in one of them just to sit on our bench. And you never know, one of them might break in as well. We might be finished with our business for this season at this point. That was the English transfer window roundup. So lots of big money players changing hand in the Premier League again. Ross Barkley's gone from Everton to Man United. Paul Pogba's gone from Juventus to Man City. And Perez has left Newcastle to go to Leverkusen. Man United spent £84 million in total. And despite us not being the most active team in League Two, that was Burton on 18 players, we win the award overall. Good old Exeter, 18 players as well. Not quite sure why we pipped Burton on that one. But yeah, we've brought in 18 players. That's quite a lot, isn't it? This is going to take a little while for us to gel, especially as we're trying to bring a new system into the club as well. And that's where we sit. We've only played 3 league games, plus that game against Swindon. But I'm pretty happy. We've won 1, drawn 1, lost 1. Not in the combination I would expect at the start of the season. We won a game I probably would have put down as a defeat. Drew the game I would have expected a win in, so it's all been a little bit odd so far, but we're sitting in 11th. I know it's far too early to be thinking about league positions, but if we finish there, the board are going to be happy because they're looking for mid-table, so that's top half. That's even better than expectations at the moment, so hopefully it's going to get even better than now. I'd love a playoff push this season, or maybe even better. I think we've got the squad to do it. If one of these strikers, or both of these new strikers, can come off, I think we've got a chance. So this is the team that we're playing today. We're away to Notts County, so I'm playing the 4-1-3-2 again. I'm starting to feel this might be my default formation, home and away. I like the way we play when we're in this setup. So we've got Christy Pym in goal, and then a back 4 of Cameron Gale at right back and Ben Tilney at left back, the 2 new expensive signings. Then we've got Julio Pleguezuelo, who's just looking very impressive for us, alongside Niall Canavan. Tom Platt is going to play as a defensive midfielder, then a midfield 3 that is far too good for League 2 of Marlon Pack, Asira Osborne and Sam Foley. And then up front we've got Declan McManus and Tom Nichols, and those 2 really need to be on their toes because the 2 new boys, Anton Forrester and Suleimani Koulibaly, are both on the bench, ready to come into that side. I imagine one or both will come on during the match, and the bench just looks fantastic as well. We've got George Glendon on there, Ryan Donaldson, who's been a match winner for us already this season, club captain. Dean Winnard can play anywhere across the back 4. Ryan McConnell was a regular starter for Gateshead in this division last season, and we've got players like Miles Addison who can't even get on the bench. He's got a long career of Championship and League One football. Chris Atkinson was a regular starter for Exeter last season. I mean, it's all looking very positive. I just need to somehow find a way not to mess this up. That's all I'm concerned with now, because I don't want to end up getting sacked, because I think there's so much potential at this football club. I'm genuinely excited, which I never really felt at York. I had that a bit at Boston, never really had it at York, but Exeter feels like a real good fit for me. Again, which means we're going to get absolutely hammered today probably. So I imagine this is just the kick-off highlight. Nothing's likely to be happening there, and there you go. Kick-off highlight over. So we're playing a counter-attacking system. So the goal really is to let Notts County come at us and then just spring on the break. We're playing a high-tempo system, and we want to just keep catching them on a break and scoring goals. For the first time this season, hopefully we're going to dominate a midfield as well. They're playing a midfield 4, and we're going to have 4 basically central midfielders in there. So they might get around us and get wide, especially when our 2 effectively wing-backs are pushing on. But I'd like to think we could dominate the game in the middle of the park. That's unfortunate, because it's not as if that's the sort of goal you can put down to poor defending. They've just had a screamer from miles out. It's not even the edge of the area. We could argue we probably should have had someone closing him down. I'm not sure how he's got all that time to score from there, and maybe the goalkeeper could have done a little bit better. Messes up our game plan a little bit, but it's still early. Hopefully not going to be a disaster. And really, with the with the board expectations, losing to a team like Notts County isn't a disaster anyway. It's bizarre considering the amount of money that we've spent. You'd expect the board to be insisting on promotion, but we can spend this season taking our time, getting used to the new team, the new system, and then go and get promoted next year. I just don't want to get hammered, especially in a live com. But we're doing nothing. We need to create something somehow. Right, Marlon Pack's got the ball in midfield. Finds Foley, back to Pack. He finds McManus. That's out wide to Gale. Can Gale get a cross in here? Cross goes to no one in particular, but Foley's picked the ball up. Back to Tilney again, who crosses. Gale's got it again. Both our fullbacks were in the penalty area there, and one of them has just scored. And that is exactly what I'm talking about. You wouldn't get that from Dean Winnard. And that's why we've gone out and spent £600,000 on fullbacks in League Two. It seems mad, but they're so important to the system I want to be playing. And you can see that there. We've got a goal and an assist from the two fullbacks. I feel vindicated. And yeah, even though we're only 1-1, we've had the only clear-cut chance of the game as well. So I'm going to call that vindication, proof that our system is working. And hopefully we can go back to the game plan now and just sit and break on them. They're at home. The pressure's on them to go and get a goal now. They're going to have to start coming at us. And that's when this system becomes really effective. We've already seen it once this season when we won, was it against Rochdale late on? I forget who we were playing. And that's 2-1 up. That's a love. Was that a cut? That couldn't have curled that much. That looked like it took a deflection. This is Isaiah Osborne. And that must be taking a deflection. I can't tell. You'd think if that took a deflection, that would have gone down to one of the players it deflected off, because it was definitely our players there. So if that's not deflected, that was some ridiculous curve Osborne put on the ball there and deserved a goal. And if it stays like this, we are in the process, of absolutely mugging Notts County, because they've had so many more shots than we have. But then we are just edging possession. We're passing the ball well. We're being effective where we need to be effective. The one area that we're falling down is up front. We just don't have the strikers, and we've already identified it as an issue. I might look at trying to bring someone in on loan, but when you're trying to build something, I don't really want to be bringing in loan players to be our star man. I don't mind bringing them in to fill out the squad, to act as cover, but I don't want to bring in a loan player to come and get 25 goals for us and then sort of be relying on him and him not being there for us next season. Let's bring on the two new strikers. Why not try them both? So Koulibaly, I know, prefers to play as a poacher, so we'll switch him to a poacher. Forrester can play as a target man. And let's see if those two have any more joy. As I say, neither of them are close to match fit, but hopefully 20 minutes. It's just going to be enough to give them a little run out, show what they're capable of, and even if it's a case of just putting some pressure on the two lads who were here when I arrived. Oh, their players sort of got in between our two centre-backs there, maybe. It's not the best defended in the world. Let's have a look at the replay on this. Yeah, he's between two. You would expect one of our defenders to intercept that or block his run off. It's a bit of a disappointing goal to concede. But this is where we get the chance for one of these two new strikers to make themselves a hero on their debut. Or I look like an idiot for taking off two established strikers and bringing two nobodies on. Right, I'm going to take Canavan off. He's not having a good game. McConnell is really starting to push for a starting spot. He's not started a game for us yet, but every time he comes on, he looks good. Got too many good defenders, that's the problem. I still don't understand how I've got Miles Addison not even on the bench. Looks like this is going to close as 2-2. Probably time for one more highlight. Hopefully it's going to be ours and we can go and steal a winner. But it looks, nah, nothing's happening now, I don't think. And it's a Notts County highlight to close the game off. Oh, let's not concede. It'd be horrible to concede late now. We've seen nothing from the two new strikers yet. I guess it might have been a mistake to bring them both on. But there was always a chance they could have done something awesome. I'm happy with that. 2-2 away to Notts County. Can't complain about a result like that. As long as we're not losing games, I'm happy at this stage. We're still learning the system. We've got 18 new players getting used to playing together. I can live with that. And hopefully, in an episode or two time, they'll all be settled in and you'll see us start taking some teams apart, which will be awesome. If you've enjoyed today's episode, make sure you pop a like on there for me and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on what is going to be a really, really exciting adventure with Exeter, hopefully. Thanks very much for watching.